In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Libertas Armory Modular Medieval Knight Pack. We're going to be taking a look at what comes with the pack and how to mix and match various components and materials to get a variety of great looking knights relatively quickly. I've developed this pack based off the neutral male avatar, so that's why I have him loaded up here. Let's dive right into the pack. First, you can just quickly apply the costume pieces or the outfit pieces. So you have the chouses, which are kind of a medieval style pant that has chainmail armor on top of them. We can hop over and go to the surcoat. Now this one has the emblem pre-applied on it, so this is kind of the base way. I do have a separate variation, so we can replace that here just real quick. Take a look. This is a more basic version, but this is set up more for customization options. So I would say stick with this one if you want to use the material presets, and leave this one if you want to really customize your character with, say, your own emblems. So we'll dive into a little bit more of those customization techniques a little bit later, but let's keep adding on components. So we do have the sleeves. I set this up so that it's not a full shirt, but it is more just the sleeves are what you're going to be seeing from the character. This is to help prevent any overlapping of meshes, having all those extra polygons that you're not going to see anyway. So that's the way that the sleeves have been set up. We can add gloves or chainmail mittens depending on what you like the look of. So let's add both of them so you can see. So there's the gloves. They're a little, what I've done with this costume in general is try to keep a very more form-fitting look, which is sometimes hard to do when you have all that chainmail and armor up. It can bulk up the character very quickly. So I've tried to keep everything as form-fitting as possible from the outset so you can build upon it going forward. Let's add those mittens in. So here's another variation. So this will give you a good look. And again, you can just swap these out depending on the look of the character that you're going for. Okay, we do need to add the coif. Let's add the boots, so he's not walking around barefoot. And depending on the style of your project, or if you want your character kind of walking along or not really in combat, you can add this cloak as well. Of course, the cloak and the surcoat have their own weight maps applied to them, so they will move around with the character more physically as you see fit. And then we have two variations of the belt. So we have a more leather and leather belt, and then we have a corded belt with leather underneath. So it gives you some various options. And again, you can mix and match these components. We also have a few accessories that we can take a look at. We have the helmet, more of an acorn style nasal helmet. And then we have the scabbard. It applies off to the left side of the hip. And we have a sword that will get added into the right hand. A little bit more of a longer sword. Kind of, if you wanted to get two hands on there, you could, or it could still be swung around like a one-handed sword if you needed to. Like I said, you can mix and match a lot of these components. You can delete out variations, add the mittens in, change the belt to get some various versions of your character going relatively quickly. But then you can also use the material presets that I have set up. So we can jump in to take a look at those. There's typically 4 for each, 3 to 4. Let's take the belt, for example. We can just simply take the material preset and drag and drop it directly onto the component, and you'll see it update in your viewport. So we have more of a black version there. Say with the boots, we wanted more of a black variation of the boot or a tan variation, or we want the chainmail style, and we can apply. That way it looks like the pants kind of extend down and you still have armor on the toes. Have that as well. With the chouses, we do have a different variation of the chainmail, which is a little bit cleaner in its look, a little bit more shiny. It has the black pants underneath, but I also provided a padded version of the armor as well. So say maybe you have a knight that isn't as rich as some of the other knights in your project. Well, this is a good way to differentiate them if you wanted to, or just wanted a different visual look. Of course, you can apply the same principles to the helmets, the cloak, the gloves. We do have a padded version of the coif as well, a little bit more leather instead of the fabric. We can also add the cleaner chainmail on there as well. Different variations of the gloves. I do like this nasal helmet, so let's go back over here real quickly, add this back in, and I'm going to go back to our colors. This one looks like it has a little bit more rivets to it, so I do like that. Apply more black version to the scabbard so it matches more with the belt. And then, of course, with the sleeves, we do have padded versions as well as another clean chainment. With the surcoat, I have developed several of the presets to look like the more traditional or recognizable factions during the Crusades. So we have the Hospitaller look, we have a Templar look, and then we have a Teutonic Knight look. So those are really nice. And then we also do have a blank version as well if you just kind of wanted that clean, no crest, but still have a lot of that battle damage and weathering and wornness on the surcoat itself. These 4 material presets should be applied only to the version with the crest on it. The other one, again, is more of a customizable surcoat. The UV has been set up slightly differently to add for more customization. So these ones should be applied only to the variation 1, which has the crest on it. You can also apply different versions of the sword as well. So hopefully you'll see right there, you do have a lot of options that can quickly get you a new knight look. And you can kind of swap things out, mix and match them. So maybe you have a whole bunch of NPCs that you want to look slightly different, or you're building out an army that you want to have some variety to. It's a great way to do that. Or if you're customizing your own character, you can dive into some of these and really fine tune to the vision that you have in your head. Along with that, like I mentioned, we do have several components that have been set up with the appearance editor in CC4. So we do have the sword and the scabbard, as well as the belts and the surcoat. So the surcoat, we'd actually replace it out altogether. And let's just take a quick look at the belt. So what you would do is you would go over to your modify tab and go into your appearance editor. So you'll see skin, makeup, and outfits. Well, one outfits. This one has been already set up with the PBR V1 3 mat. And then you would activate the appearance editor, and then there would be parameters in there that you can adjust and mix and match to get various different looks on that belt. So whether you want to update the roughness values, add a little bit extra dirt, change the color out, there's a lot of things you can do. In order to not make this video any longer than it needs to be, we're going to save that for another video. So if you want to see how that is applied, I'm going to have another video on my YouTube channel, Libertas Armory. And the reason for that is because this pack wasn't built in isolation. I built it alongside of my Medieval Knight armor pack as well as my weapon pack, and each of those packs does use that same appearance editor to get even further customization. So we're going to attack all of those in one specific video, and if you want to learn how to do that and get more variations out of your character, I would highly recommend it. Of course, you can also pick up these packs separately or bundle them together to get a little bit of a pricing discount. Hopefully this video has been informative and brings you value. Again, if you want additional tips and tricks to maximize the customization of this pack, check out our Libertas Armory YouTube channel. There you'll find additional animation tutorials, character updates, and more. My name is Eric from Libertas Armory, and I'll see you in the next one.